Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Shashank Gupta from Department of Anesthesia and Critical Care, GGS Medical College and Hospital, and my topic for oral paper presentation is anesthetic management in a patient of xeroderma pigmentosum. Xeroderma pigmentosum is a rare autosomal recessive disease caused due to a molecular defect in nucleotide excision repair genes. It affects 1 in 2.5 million patients, and these patients has 1,000-fold increased risk of developing cancer of sun-exposed areas. These patients undergo various surgical procedures like excision of squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, eyeball enucleation, ectropion corrections, eye tumor removal, and cataract surgeries frequently. Special anesthetic considerations are required for management of these patients. We present a case of patient having CA lip who underwent wide local excision successfully under GA. A 14 years old male patient weighing 30 kg with xeroderma pigmentosum presented with growth in lower lips in 6 months. Patient had history of photophobia, dry eyes, and hyperpigmented freckles all over the body. There was no other significant past surgical or family history. On pre-anesthetic checkup, all vital parameters were normal, systemic examination was unremarkable, and airway examination was normal. All blood investigations were within normal limits, checked, and in chest X-ray, no abnormality was found. Before taking up the patient for surgery, difficult airway cart was kept ready. All emergency drugs were kept ready. The sevoflurane vaporizer was mounted on the anesthesia machine. Fresh soda lime was filled into the soda lime canisters. New breathing circuits were attached. Patient was taken on OT table after return informed consent and ASA standard monitors were attached. All vital parameters were normal. Pre-medication was given in the form of injection ondansetron and injection fentanyl. Induction was done through injection propofol. Airway was secured with cuffed ET tube size 6.5 and after giving succinylcholine intravenously, ET tube was fixed at 20 cm after checking bilaterally equal air entry. Patient was kept on controlled ventilation with tidal volume of 250 ml and respiratory rate between 14 to 16 in order to maintain EtCO2 between 30 to 40 mm of mercury. Maintenance of anesthesia was done on sevoflurane, cisatracurium, and equal ratio of oxygen and nitrous. Throat packing and eye padding was done and patient was kept covered and all pressure areas were also padded. Intra-op period was uneventful. Injection paracetamol 10 mg per kg was given intraoperatively for post-op pain relief. The total duration of procedure was 120 minutes. At the end of procedure, neuromuscular blockade was reversed with injection myopyrrolate. Patient was extubated when fully awake and attainment of full recovery and shifted to recovery room after Eldred score of more than 9. The major anesthetic concerns are the psychological and sociological impact on patients and relatives due to repeated exposure to surgical interventions and anesthesia. These patients have dry pigmented skin which hinders visualization, cannulation, and fixation of venous axis and various non-invasive monitoring techniques. It is recommended to do proper closure of eyes and eye ointment may be used if patients have conjunctival and corneal lesions. It is also important to cover all parts of body with proper drapes before turning on the operative lights and to avoid halogenated lights as much as possible. Bones and joints may be fragile due to lack of vitamin D Hence, proper padding of pressure points and gentle handling during transport should be done. For intubation, these patients have multiple lesions on face and they may also have facial disfiguring, which can cause difficult mask ventilation. Thus, multiple face mask types should be available. Difficult airway carts should be kept ready with stellate and bougie for intubation. It is also suggested to extubate the patient only after they are fully awake. These patients are quite sensitive to paralyzing effects of muscular relaxants due to neuroaxonal dysfunction and muscle atrophy. So they must be used with caution and with strict neuromuscular block monitoring. Opioids such as fentanyl can be used for intraoperative period. However, use of multimodal analgesia with ketamine, paracetamol, infiltration of local anesthetics decrease the requirement of opioids. Concomitant use of benzodiazepine and opioids can cause apnea and desaturation, indicating that these patients are very sensitive to this combination. There is lack of consensus regarding type of anesthetic agents to be used for major surgery. Masuda in his study recommended avoiding halothane because it may worsen the symptoms of the disease. Rates and Lands also reached into similar conclusions and told that halothane might have a possible genotoxic side effects. Miyazaki observed similarly and recommended that Tiva may be used safely in these patients. However, Oliveira and Haji Jafari have recommended the use of sevoflurane. Oliveira has even said that there was no adverse events intraoperatively and postoperatively when sevoflurane was used. Regional anesthetic techniques like epidural and spinal anesthesia may be safe, may be more reliable in these patients. Local nerve blocks can also be used in these patients and they reduce the requirement of other analgesics. To conclude, there is still lack of consensus regarding the use of TIVA or volatile anesthetics for major surgery in patients having xeroderma pigmentosum. We used sevoflurane in our patient and did not encounter any adverse event, but further research needs to be done to prove efficacy of TIVA or sevoflurane in xeroderma pigmentosum patients. These are the references. Thank you.